This type of content I really don't post on my channel on a regular basis because I really don't have the stomach to handle and let alone give my expression as to what's been going on with insert name content creator or with somebody or something going on the internet that I really don't have the strong heart to talk about regarding the fact that somebody's being accused of something until proven innocent given the evidence from the person being accused of. What I'm going to be talking about today is when Kwite a couple weeks ago was accused of being a and once the news broke out from the being said accuser going by the name of Orion, when I make videos talking about a content creator with allegations, it would be something about like, oh, they're being a racist, being a transphobe, being, I don't know, a sexist. Those are some topics that I would handle and have a strong heart to talk about. When there's a topic that I cannot handle, for example, like Kwite being a, because I don't have the strong mentality or the maturity to handle such a topic to let alone make a video about it to give my expressions of it or my thoughts on the situation of being said from that person. Because 2 years ago, when EDP 445 was caught being a criminal, or those of you that don't know the history or I guess the story of EDP 445, he ended up being a criminal, which I suggest you look up to the story being said by Most Critical. When I tried to make a video talking about EDP 445, I was about to puke. I was like so close to vomiting, and then I ended up deciding that I won't talk about this topic because I don't have a strong heart to talk about it. And yes, I do agree that he deserves to go to prison. For Kwite's situation, being accused of being a, it's very serious because right off the bat, you have the accuser accusing him of doing this horrible act. And at that time, I was so offended and shocked from this person is accusing of Kwite of. Now, I used to watch Kwite. Keep in mind, this is before the allegation was being said. I really don't watch his content anymore, like on a regular basis. Keep in mind, this is before the accusation was being said because I used to find his content a little bit boring, lackey, and kind of, I guess, unhinged. Not in a way to disrespect, but that's just the types of content that he'll want to post. During the time the allegations were being said, a hefty amount of people were making videos like Sensitive Society, Pegasus, just to name a few. We're talking about the situation with Kwite. When it comes to those topics, I don't really make videos like that. I mostly just keep it private or just say it on my Twitter or if I have the heart to say it. Whether or not I want to say something or I would not just say anything, which that option is up to me. At the time of this happening, I lost a lot of faith for Kwite because this used to be a YouTuber that I used to watch and get a lot of influence. And now realizing that he did this horrible act made me lose a lot of respect for him. But at that time, I had to understand that these were accusations until proven true. 17 days after the accusations were being said, Kwite made a tweet posting a link with a 91-minute video defending himself with evidence to prove that he is innocent and not being said of the abuser, but he is a victim of abuse from the being said abuser Orion, claiming that he is the suspect and Orion is the victim. I watched that 91-minute video. To be honest, this is the most impressive response I've ever seen from any YouTuber. When it comes to a serious allegation, you got transphobia, gaslighting, suicide. That being said, of a word that I refuse to say. To sum it all up for the 91-minute video, turns out that Kwite was the victim of this situation, and the ex that Kwite has been mentioning, Orion, was taking an advantage of him, gaslighting him, manipulating his time to give more time with Orion. And Orion with Kwite has been having this toxic friendship with each other where it lasted for a good 5 years. Or 4 years, I should say. Once he responded with the 91-minute video, there was a lot of people on Twitter that were apologizing, including myself, for believing the accuser and not listening to Kwite's story. Keep in mind, once the accuser said that Kwite is being a, I believed it without even listening to Kwite's story. People have to understand that when it comes to a person being accused, it takes a lot of time to gather enough evidence, gather enough thought to respond of being said this horrible thing until proven true. I made a Twitter thread with 3 tweets responding to the accusations being said from Kwite and apologizing for believing the allegations instead of listening to Kwite's story. And at the time, I was very upset for believing the accuser instead of listening to Kwite. I made a follow-up tweet saying that the Kwite situation feels very similar to the Power Cynical situation, saying that it sucks that this might be a repetitive cycle when it comes to content creators being accused of something horrible until they respond with proven evidence that they are innocent innocent, and then we all feel guilt after believing the false accuser for making misinformation to bring the downfall of being said the content creator. Uxie, who is a meme account on Twitter, apologized to Kwite for using its platform to dunk on Kwite for making fun of him for the allegations and jumping to conclusions instead of listening to their story. And Kwite responded with saying, "Thank you, man, for believing his side of the story instead of believing the accuser without even proven evidence." My friend Blue Wolf gave empathy to Uxie for instead of believing the accuser's side of the story and not Kwite's side of the story. And it's okay that we made a mistake. It's just that the story was too heartfelt to be false at the time. She then made a hashtag saying that it's always important to have innocence until proven guilty as a thing. I jumped to conclusions and I'm sorry for that. It is always important to listen to the accuser as well, as a lot of times they are being truthful and need comfort. She said that she's sorry for believing the false accuser's story because at the time what the accuser said to Kwite sounded so serious and so important that we were all so stubborn that we didn't believe Kwite's story, and it was unfair to not give Kwite a chance to speak for what the accusation being said to him. When the allegations were proven false, I was very upset that I believed the false accuser story, and I will never forgive myself for believing that. And like I said when I made the follow-up tweet, that it feels so similar to the Power Cynical situation because Power Cynical was accused of being and the accuser gave a whole brief summary for the accusation. Power Cynical responded with a 20-minute video responding to the allegation with evidence, and everybody was apologizing for Power Cynical that we focus on the false accuser of Power Cynical instead of believing Power Cynical's side of the story and not letting him speak for his side of the story of the being said allegation. I will never forgive myself for believing the false accuser's story, and I should have waited until Kwite gave his side of the story to get a better understanding to which one is right and which one is false. I felt obligated to make this video because I really don't make these types of videos, but making this video to respond in some sort of way to, instead of believing the false accuser and not listening to Kwite's story, was very stubborn and irresponsible for myself. Although I may be a small content creator, even if you have a small account, there's going to be a number of people that will listen to what you have to say, even though there isn't any evidence being said from something serious that can grab a lot of people's attention. He also said in the video that he is never going to mentally recover from this because since the internet reacts to a way that when it comes to false allegations or allegations in general being said from a content creator or a celebrity, once something is being posted on the internet, it can never be deleted. And since the internet has a very strong way to react to something that involves with criminal activity, in other words, it cannot be recovered. He also said that he doesn't think he's ever going to return to YouTube. He's going to take a 1-month break, but he cannot promise he's going to make a comeback video. And not only that it damaged his reputation, but also damaged his view of basically contributing to society, and he'll always be viewed of something that was an allegation against him, but when he responded, turns out he was innocent.